Welcome back, guys, to another module to the Advanced Direct Response Editor Training. In this module, we're going to go over part 3, the prereqs to video editing. Okay, I'm not going to do the whole thing in that voice. I think that would be really exhausting. So let's get into it, guys. All right. First off, what do you need to get started? You're going to need a PC and a Mac that should be relatively high performance, okay? If you're working off a potato, I don't recommend taking this course. You should probably go to Best Buy and order something. No, but in real talk, if you're an editor, your gear is incredibly important, and you know that if you have crappy gear, you're not going to be able to perform as well. You're going to lag if your graphics card isn't up to speed, if you don't have enough RAM. All of these things are going to affect your productivity, and you want to ensure you have the best of the best if you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, you'll work up to a point where you can afford it, and that's how you get nice stuff. So I always recommend maxing out on RAM, whatever your motherboard can support, whether that's 32 gigs, 64, 128. I think I have 32, but I'm very RAM focused. I love having a million tabs open, tons of programs open at one time. Next thing is getting an external SSD. If you don't already have an SSD built into your PC or Mac, get an external one on Amazon. These things, like, get a terabyte or more. They run so much faster than a typical hard drive. So that's just one thing. It's just like a must. Just get an SSD. If you can, if you have the space, if you have the resources, get dual monitors. I always prefer that. You can have 2 screens where you can toggle in between your notes while editing. You don't have to keep minimizing. I feel like having 2 screens has made me so much faster, but it's also created a lot of distraction as well because you have more things to look at. But I really like it because on one screen, I can look at stock footage. I can look at the script. I can, scrub footage, or I can move my timeline into the other screen and focus on this area. So, just having more real estate visually is always a good thing. I used to have 4 monitors at one point, and it just got too excessive where I just had too much stuff going on, and then it would slow me down, and don't recommend doing that. So I think 2 is optimal. Next, high performance graphics card. This is obviously, it's a no-brainer. If you're working with graphics in any capacity, or if you're a gamer, you're going to need a fast performance, high performance graphics card. So get what you can afford. I'm not here to break down the exact specifics. I'm so out of touch with what's out there in terms of what's really good. I used to build my own PCs when I was a kid, but now I've just switched to Mac, and I just I don't get the Max Mac. That sounds weird. The Max Mac, because that shit comes out to like 15 grand. I'm not going to throw 15 grand on a computer. When if you build a PC, you can get double the performance for like a fraction of the cost. All right, number 2, you're going to need a legit version of Adobe Premiere Pro. If you use another program, just absorb the principles and apply them to your software, because really what we're learning here are the foundations, are the principles, are the techniques. If you're using Final Cut, if you're using DaVinci, if you're using, what are the other ones? Apple, iMovie, whatever the case may be. What you need to understand is, it's all the same. It doesn't matter what program you're using. The concepts are really what's important, because you can translate the concept in any editing program that you're using. For example, your phone. Like I use my phone. I use CapCut to edit a lot of videos for social media. There's pros and cons to everything. No program is perfect. And whatever you're used to using, I highly suggest using that. But this program, this training course will be predominantly Premiere Pro, okay? Next, you're going to need time, focus, and patience. Okay, that's very important. Things take time to learn, okay? When you're learning something new, you have to be very focused and present because you're taking in new information. It's almost like riding a bike again. Maybe some of this stuff is brand new to you, so your brain is going to kind of be stretching itself, which is always a good thing. And don't get frustrated. And, just be patient with the process, because learning takes time, and you will, over time with practice, become very proficient. You'll be able to talk about this stuff, and you'll be able to identify patterns and things that, will be second nature to you. It's just like learning an instrument. Over months, over years, you become very fluid, and you'll be able to freestyle. You'll be able to do whatever you want. And I've always wanted to be a really good piano player, but I just never put in the time, focus, and patience. So that's my fault. Okay, number 4, have a beginner's mindset. I know everybody comes from different backgrounds and different experiences and different skill sets. So try to learn all this stuff with a blank slate, or continue to, adopt that open-mindedness, because when you come in here with a lot of your beliefs and whatnot, it can get in the way of your progress. And I've worked with a lot of people in the past who've kind of come from a different production world, or they did a lot of TV and this person did a lot of movies. And so we clashed a lot in terms of principles and whatnot. But, at the end of the day, what I'm just trying to teach you are additional tools to add to your belt. So you can take what you know here and take what you know there and cross apply them, and then come up with something completely unique. And I think that's the beauty of continually acquiring more information, is then you'll have a broader perspective of life. All right, so this is my setup right now. I've got the Mac Studio 2022. I've got 64 gigs of RAM. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I got 1 terabyte SSD, 2 widescreen monitors. They're huge. I've had them for years, and I'm rolling with the MX Master 3 Logitech mouse. I love this thing. Primarily for the grip right here. If you do a lot of editing, you're going to run into a lot of like wrist problems right here. I think at one point in my life, I had basic minor carpal tunnel, and it was because my mouse was too small. I was using like this little gaming mouse, like it was tiny like this, and I was making this movement, and then all of my joints right here started to just be in pain all the time. And if I'm not working out, if I'm not lifting, if I'm not doing any weights or anything like that, it starts to flare up again. And this mouse is wide enough where it kind of gives me enough support, and my fingers are able to stretch wide enough, so it's not giving me that like crabby crab fingers, which I feel like is the reason why I was getting like carpal tunnel. But it's a very common thing. So definitely invest in the right stuff. You're sitting behind a computer a lot, and you want to be comfortable. Like, get a nice chair, invest in your stuff, because this is your job. This is where you're putting a lot of your time and energy, and you want to make sure you got the best gear and the most comfort, and primarily obviously protecting your health, because we us editors can sit here for hours and just like be pieces of shit for a while.